Oh yes. Greetings audience, I'm Boomstick, and today we're going to be talking about my FDL Basic by Project FDL. The FDL Basic is the newest iteration from Project FDL, and possibly their last. I'll touch on that a little bit later. They are currently selling pre-built FDL Basics on their website. They upload new listings every Monday, so if it's sold out, check again on Monday. Follow their Instagram and Facebook and whatnot to make sure you can grab one and if you want one. Let me first mention that the print quality is very nice. This is a very, very smooth white, especially for printing in white, because that tends to highlight more of the flaws in your print. The FDL Basic is a half-dart, full-auto, 3D printed blaster that utilizes brushless motors and ABS wheels. It has an on-off switch and a voltmeter along with two knobs on the back that are used to control the speed of the flywheel and the pusher motors. The battery is stored in the grip to help keep things more compact. The magwell has that perfect balance between not too wiggly while still being able to gravity drop a mag. While I don't usually care for 3D printed sling mounts due to them being on the weaker side, the FDL Basic has a very sturdy sling mount that I would have no problem trusting to carry my Basic all day for an event. For my FDL Basic, I also got the holster magnet plate. That way I can run this as a secondary right there on my leg. This is the FDL3. I've had a lot of time running this on the field and I'm very comfortable using this in a war. And today we're going to take a look at the FDL Basic compared to the FDL3 and why you should choose one over the other, or vice versa. First, let's talk about performance. Both blasters perform right around the same. I was getting slightly higher FPS with my FDL3 than I do with my Basic, but I think that has more to do with the worn darts I was using. I get around 180 FPS with my FDL3, while my FDL Basic, I was only getting 175, which 5 FPS difference, not a huge deal, especially when I think it has more to do with worn darts. Next, let's talk about appearance. Now, for any of you who know me, you know I am not a fan of horizontal flywheels. I just think they look ugly. But if we take those out of the equation, the rest of the blaster looks fantastic. Like, I love how the rest of the blaster looks. I just don't like those horizontal flywheels. Now, obviously that was done to keep it more compact, because if they turned them vertical, they would have had to make it a little bit longer, and the whole idea is to make it as compact as possible. But for me, you just can't beat how the FDL3 looks. It's a beautiful blaster. Mwah! You'll also notice that the FDL3 has a little screen and knob here for more customization, as opposed to the FDL Basic, which just has two knobs for controlling FPS and rate of fire. Now, if you're somebody who really likes to be able to get in there and customize your FDL3, getting it exactly where you want it, then that might be a con for the Basic view. But for me, I usually just run full auto, 100% FPS, and medium rate of fire. So, I mean, I can do all that with the Basic, so that was no problem for me. The battery for the FDL3 is really easy to get into. You just take off this flap, plug in your battery, tuck it in, close it up, and you're good to go. The FDL Basic, in order to keep things more compact, decided to put it in the grip, which we will come to later, because while I understand why they did it, I'm not a big fan of this grip battery tray. Now, obviously, a big difference for these two would be their price. I paid a little over $320 for this one, but that's because I got it with the holster magnets, whereas the FDL3 will run you closer to $400. Neither of these blasters are cheap. However, the FDL Basic knocks a nice $100 off the price point. So if you really don't need those extra features of the FDL3, then this might be the way to go to save your wallet some heartache. Another big difference between the FDL3 and the FDL Basic is the weight. I'd estimate the FDL Basic is a couple pounds lighter than the FDL3, and that is a really big difference for that single hand wielding blaster. And yeah, I definitely find the FDL Basic, because not only is it shorter but lighter, it's just a lot easier to maneuver with my wrist without straining it out. Whereas the FDL3 can get a little heavy and a little wearing on the wrist there. Now, one thing you've probably heard me say a couple times, this video is talking about secondaries. I've been running my FDL3 on my holster leg mount as a secondary to a lot of my springers. And it is a great secondary. Its main con is it's a bit heavy and a bit bulky. So when the FDL Basic came out, I was very excited. The FDL Basic makes a much better holstering sidearm than the FDL3. It's lighter, it's more compact, so it gets less in your way. Because that is what I have every intention of using it for. I plan on using my FDL Basic as a secondary. If you've watched my videos, you know I tend to either run my FDL3 or a Springer sniper rifle, and the FDL Basic is now the perfect sidearm to my said sniper rifle, or sniper rifle. The other thing to consider when looking at this is the fact that Project FDL seems to be closing up shop soon due to several personal reasons that they've gone into. If you want to find out more into that, you can look into the Facebook group and see their reasons, which, more power to them. But we don't know if anybody else will be offering FDL Basics. I know Frontline Foam offers FDL3s, I believe. As far as the Basic goes, I'm not sure if there'll be anybody else will be offering them. So really, now might be the best time to get a Basic so you don't miss out. My only gripes come down to the horizontal flywheels, which is an aesthetic preference of mine, not a negative really of the blaster. It's just me personally aesthetically. Ugh. The actual complaint I have is this battery tray. For my FDL Basic, I'm using a 1000 milliamp 3S LiPo, and it is about the max size LiPo you'll be able to fit into the Basic. In order to put your LiPo in properly, you'll have to put it in wires first so they can be fed through the upper chamber. Once you've fed the wires through, you can plug in your XC60 connectors. I had to remove the battery from my FDL Basic while it was plugged in order to feed the wires back into the grip so I could close the upper chamber. Once everything is seated, you can put the grip cap back on and you're ready to go. The whole process took me about 3 minutes, which is kind of a long time for plugging in a LiPo. It's something I'm sure I'll get used to, but for right now, I definitely do not like that design. Obviously, it was done for keeping things compact, which, as I've said, I really like how compact it is. It's just one of those things you kind of got to sacrifice going for a smaller package. Overall, the FDL Basic is a pretty compact blaster considering what this is packing, and I'm very excited to be able to now run this as a secondary. Thank you all for watching. If you guys have any thoughts or questions about the FDL Basic, leave them down in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, and hey, if you want to see more from myself and others around me, absolutely hit that subscribe button and maybe even ring that bell. And if you'd like to support the channel, go ahead and check out my Teespring or my Patreon. Both will be down in the description. Thank you all for watching. I've been Boomstick, and I'm out.